Welcome to Module 4 of the online training for the Raptor Monitoring Volunteer Program with Colorado Parks and Wildlife. In this module, you will learn about how to enter your data in the online data platform, Zoho. Raptor monitoring volunteers are responsible for entering the data they collect into the online database. A mobile app is available, but you must have self-service in the field and submit records as you go. You cannot work on multiple observations and submit them later when you have service. As a result, most Raptor monitoring volunteers prefer to fill out data sheets in the field and enter data later from their home computer. Instructions for the app are found in Appendix G of the Volunteer Handbook. Enter your data in Zoho as soon as possible, within 24 to 72 hours of your Raptor survey. Why? We use the data in real time to help inform park management and activities, including tree removal and development projects, herbicide spraying for weed management, trail maintenance and seasonal recreation closures to rock climbing areas, campsites, and trails. In addition to real-time management, the data gathered by Raptor monitors is used in longer-term planning, including oil and gas development and industrial right-of-ways. If you don't enter your data right away, please submit it when you can. Don't hold on to it. Your data is always valuable, and the sooner we can access it, the better. To enter your data, visit the URL displayed on this slide and sign in using the login information shown here. This login information, as well as the data entry instructions presented in this module, can be found in the Volunteer Handbook, starting on page 21. If you are having trouble entering data, please contact the Resource Stewardship Office using the contact information at the end of this presentation. After logging in, you will see this data entry screen. Fields with a red asterisk are required. Some fields will auto-populate based on previous responses. To download Raptor monitoring materials, click on Park Maps Field Sheet View in the upper left of the screen. Here you can access the most up-to-date Raptor monitoring park maps, printable field data sheets, the Volunteer Handbook, program newsletters, and other instructional materials. Download any of these files by clicking on the blue link under Map or Document File. To download maps for a specific park, click Search at the top left of the window. Enter the park name into the Map or Document Name field that appears below, and then click the gray Search button. To return to the data entry screen, click the Raptor data entry sheet in the Home box at the top left of the screen. Now we'll start entering data. Each species observed in a zone during a non-nesting survey gets its own entry, and each nest observed during a nesting survey gets its own entry. Do not enter data for more than one species or nest at a time. Select a state park from the drop-down menu. The park code will auto-populate. Enter the date and the first and last names of all observers. Check the box next to the appropriate type of observation, either a nesting observation or a non-nesting observation. Additional data fields will appear once you select one of these boxes. If you select the wrong box, click on the Reset button at the bottom of the screen. This will clear and reset all fields. Let's look at a nesting example. Imagine that you saw an adult red-tailed hawk sitting on Ridgeway nest number 1 in a cottonwood tree. The bird was on the nest for 30 minutes, and you may have seen egg turning, but you're not sure. Select the box to the left of Please check if this is a nesting observation. Several fields related to nesting data should appear. Start by entering data into the fields on the left side of the screen. This is a mapped nest, not a new one, so we will leave the New Nest box unchecked. If you do find a new nest, however, the process is nearly identical to entering data for known nests. The only difference is that you will select the New Nest checkbox and enter the location of the nest, with coordinates if possible, into the specific New Nest location box. Select New Nest from the Nest Code drop-down menu. Remember to email the Resource Stewardship Office and let us know about the new nest. Select the 7-character nest code associated with the nest that you observed. Nest codes are listed numerically in the drop-down menu. Scroll down until you see the code you need, or start typing the code into the field. If you have not seen any raptors while observing this nest, you would select the "Please check this box if no raptors were observed during nesting observation." The data fields on the right side of the screen will disappear and are not needed. In our nesting observation example, we did see a raptor on the nest, so we will leave the box unchecked. At the bottom of the left side are several disturbance fields, including disturbance level, or the intensity of the disturbance, and disturbance source, and a field to write any additional clarifying comments about the disturbance. Do not count yourself as a disturbance, unless your presence caused raptors to become agitated. Enter start and end time in military time, with only a colon between the hours and minutes. If entered in military time, there is no need to specify AM or PM. In addition to the disturbance and time fields, complete the fields for weather conditions, including temperature, wind, and sky. Please enter temperature in Fahrenheit, but do not put an F after the number. Finally, select the equipment that was used during the survey. Next, enter data in the fields on the right side of the screen. Select the raptor species you saw at the nest. In this example, we saw a red-tailed hawk. If you weren't able to identify the species, select one of the unknown options: unknown accipiter, unknown buteo, unknown eagle, unknown falcon, unknown owl, or unknown raptor. If you saw multiple species of raptors visit the same zone during a single 10-minute survey, you will need to make a separate entry for each species. Select the option that is highest up on the list in the drop-down menu for the most significant behavior field. Select the option that is highest up on the list in the drop-down menu for the nest activity field. Nest activity choices are listed from the most significant to the least significant. Choose the most significant activity that you observed. If you choose fledglings observed, a box will appear to type in the number of fledglings. If you choose nestlings observed, nestlings are calling, or feeding young, a box will appear to type in the number of nestlings. Select the nest substrate the nest is built on from the drop-down menu. Options for this field are explained in Appendix C of the Volunteer Handbook. Enter the number of individual raptors of this species into the appropriate fields. The total number of individuals is automatically calculated. In this example, we observed one adult of unknown sex, no immature birds, and no other adults. Finally, enter any comments about this nest observation you might have. This is a great place to put comments about the bird's behavior as it relates to nesting. For example, notes on egg turning or suspected young that you think might be in the nest. You can also use this space to record general comments about the survey. For example, if you had left early because the raptors were getting agitated. This information can be very useful. That said, comments are optional. When you have finished entering your data, please review your selections before clicking the Submit button on the bottom center of the screen. Once you submit your data, you can no longer edit or delete your observation. If changes need to be made or if errors need to be corrected after submitting your data, you will need to email your corrections to the Raptor Monitoring Volunteer Coordinator. We're happy to fix things for you, but taking a moment to check your entries for accuracy will help avoid this. Now let's look at data entry for a non-nesting observation. In this example, during a 10-minute survey from the observation point in Zone 2 at Ridgway State Park, you observed an adult great horned owl perched in a cottonwood tree along the river, a red-tailed hawk hunting, flying, and calling around the open area near the Enchanted Mesa trailhead, and an immature bald eagle flying overhead from north to south. The process for entering non-nest monitoring data is very similar to the process for nest monitoring data. Select the park name and enter the data and observer names. Check the box for a non-nesting observation. Select the 6-character observation zone code from the drop-down menu. Zone codes are listed numerically. Scroll down until you see the code you need, or start typing the code into the field. If you did not see any raptors while surveying the selected zone, select the box next to "Please check this box if there were no sightings at this observation zone code." The data fields on the right side of the screen will disappear and are not needed. If this was an incidental observation, select the box next to "Please check this box if this is an incidental observation." Incidental observations are raptors observed outside of the 10-minute survey window, raptors observed in a different zone from the one you are surveying, but in the park, or raptors observed while walking or driving between observation points, also in the park. In this example, we did see raptors, and they were not incidental observations, so we'll leave both of these boxes unchecked. Complete the fields for disturbance, weather, and equipment in the same way as the nesting observation. Next, you will enter information about the different species you observed during your non-nesting survey. Each species observed will get a separate data entry, so you will need to enter the information recorded in the data table one species at a time. In our non-nesting example at Ridgway State Park, we observed 3 different raptor species during the 10-minute survey window: 1 great horned owl, 1 red-tailed hawk, and 1 bald eagle, so we would need to submit 3 separate Zoho entries. Select one of the raptor species you observed during your non-nesting survey from the drop-down menu. For this demonstration, we will use the information about the red-tailed hawk. In this example, we observed the red-tailed hawk hunting, flying, and calling, but only one behavior can be entered as the most significant behavior. The options are listed in the drop-down menu in order of significance. Select the one that is the highest on the list. Enter the number of individual raptors of this species into the appropriate fields. The total number of individuals is automatically calculated. Type in the number of immature male adults, female adults, and adults of unknown sex into the appropriate fields. The database will automatically total the numbers of raptors observed for you. Type in the number of immature male adults, female adults, and adults of unknown sex into the appropriate fields. The database will automatically total the number of raptors observed for you. Finally, enter any comments about the non-nesting observation you might have. This is a great place to put comments about the bird's behavior or your notes in the location column of the data table. In this example, we observed the red-tailed hawk near the Enchanted Mesa trailhead. You can also use this space to record general comments about the survey, for example, if you had left early because the raptors were getting agitated. This information can be very useful. That said, comments are optional. Remember to review your selections before clicking the Submit button at the bottom center of the screen. Once you submit your data, you can no longer edit or delete your observation. When you are completely done entering data, click Sign Out in the upper right corner. Congratulations! You have completed the online training for the Raptor Monitoring Volunteer Program with Colorado Parks and Wildlife. Thank you so much for your interest in the program and your commitment to the natural resource stewardship of our state parks. We look forward to working with you. If you have any questions about the presentation, please contact the Resource Stewardship staff using the contact information at the bottom of this slide. Thank you.